names are on the move in the MLB after last night's trade deadline. Analysts say the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox, two of Kelly's favorite teams, saw the biggest wins, while fans of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Detroit Tigers say their teams dealt with major losses. So let's bring in CBS Sports baseball writer Matt Snyder. Matt, good to see you. So let's talk about the Dodgers. How'd they come out on top of these trades?
Yeah, I mean, Tarik Skubal, he's won 2 Cy Youngs in a row in the American League. Now he shifts to the National League, but he's generally regarded as the best pitcher in all of baseball. Given that the Dodgers have won 2 straight World Series, have that monster payroll, it's caused a lot of discourse online among other fan bases. Of course, Dodgers fans are happy. The postseason has generally been a bit of a crapshoot here. Now, just because the Dodgers won the last 2 years, there's a lot of focus on their payroll and everything like that. So it has been a hot-button topic. The Dodgers are definitely the best team, but if you look at any odds or any percentages around there on the projection system, they're right around 29% to win the World Series, which, hey, that still leaves us 71% that somebody else might win it. So there is expected to be a fight in the offseason with the CBA coming up, and the owners want a salary cap. The players do not want a salary cap. There is a lot of discussion focused on the Dodgers because of that. So getting Tarik Skubal, the best pitcher in baseball, just makes them that much stronger. It just intensifies a lot of the off-field discussions when a lot of us like to focus on the on-field play.
I mean, well said, right? I mean, everyone's going after the Dodgers, but, like, don't hate the player, hate the game. If you've got the money and the league works this way, then why wouldn't you do that? And by the way, Tampa Bay, which has one of the lowest payrolls, is actually doing quite well right now. So, you know, and the Mets, one of the highest, doing very poorly. Anyhow, I digress.
But you're basically saying, though, that it doesn't.
I enjoyed the rant, though. I liked that.
No, the rant, but it's important. I think it's interesting because you're saying that, like, if you are one of those big money teams that can spend for talent, doesn't necessarily mean that you can win a pennant.
But you could argue that the Dodgers have a really good farm system because of all the money that they have, and they're able to rake in, and that also helps them do very well. And they've won the last 2 World Series. I'm obviously a big sports fan, Matt.
There you go.
When you get me going,
very impressive.
But I did want to ask you who came up short, because I think everyone was looking at Detroit, you know, giving that up. But also, I mean, he was going to be his contract was up anyway, right? So who in your mind came up short?
Well, I don't like the move from the Tigers' perspective because they were only 2.5 games out of a playoff spot heading into last night. And to signify to your fan base, we're throwing in the towel when you're only 2.5 games out of a wild card spot, that doesn't do it for me. And it wasn't just Skubal. They also traded Casey Mize, who had some years left of team control. So they're essentially pulling the plug and waving the white flag when they're only 2.5 games out. They've been one of the better teams in baseball since the start of June. I don't like that. The Orioles were in a similar position. They cut bait on Adley Rutschman, sending him to the Red Sox. They were 2.5 games out of a playoff spot going in. This, to me, is too close to go into the last 2 months of the season when you're within 2.5 games of a playoff spot. You're essentially telling your fans, we don't believe in the team on the field when you're that close to a playoff spot. If you don't believe the team on the field, you're the front office that put this team on the field. You're saying, I don't think I did a good enough job heading into the season. That is unacceptable to me. I don't care for that. But yeah, those were the 2 teams that stuck out to me on kind of waving the white flag. In terms of teams that I don't think did enough, the Brewers. They've been one of the best teams in baseball for years. They knew that the Dodgers swept them in the NLCS last year. Tarik Skubal's right there. There are a lot of reports that they offered pretty much just as much as the Dodgers, but okay, so drop the hammer and offer more and make sure that you get Skubal, because it's not just about getting Skubal. It's about not having to face him when you face the Dodgers in the playoffs. If it's going to be one team or the other, make it be my team. That's the perspective I have. And if the Brewers were just a one-year upstart who hadn't been to the playoffs in a long time, okay, maybe you don't want to trade 4 or 5 prospects or young MLB players for a rental. I understand that. But when they're in the playoffs every single year and they've never won the World Series, I think at some point you have to go for the World Series championship.
Well said, Matt Snyder. Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.